Our final presenter is Chevy Bay. He's the founder of BookDoc. It's a mobile platform that connects and unites healthcare professionals. Chevy?
Mike, may I go back there?
It's up to you. Sure.
No.
Yeah, please. Go ahead. Okay.
To be the last one to ask.
No, you go.
Okay. That's okay, fine. I'm just kidding.
So to share with all how I founded BookDoc. So I was formerly in my family business, so we run the largest diagnostic imaging chain in Malaysia.
There is a bit of an echo here, right?
Yeah, but I think aim to the audience.
Oh, okay, sure. So what I realized in the business is that I have a lot of people calling me up all the time and say, hey, I need to see a doctor, I need to see someone, who do you recommend? So to me, I look at it and say, I could help out, but it's not my full-time job. I'm not a call center either, recommending people. Then secondly, I have another close friend of mine who has a near-death experience from dengue. So he actually called me up to ask, hey, which is the fastest way you can get me to see a doctor? And I help him out. So later, on that note, a friend of mine also approached me and say, why don't you leverage on technology and bring business global, not just limited in Malaysia? So that's how I founded BookDoc. So my other co-founder was the former founder and ex-CEO of Groupon Asia Pac. So he mentioned to me one day when I talked to him about this platform I'm trying to build the whole ecosystem. He mentioned and said, try not to be too ambitious. And he was good at cloning, obviously, that's why I got bought up by Groupon. So he said, have you heard of a platform in the US called ZocDoc? Why don't you start with doing what they're doing, a booking platform? But to me, first and foremost, it's not a sexy idea. So we started with BookDoc just on that, but we have integrated the data analytics part into the platform. So both of us, myself and Joel, we started BookDoc, and we are backed by a diverse group of investors, entrepreneurs, bankers, regulators, seasoned healthcare, insurance, and ICT, because we want to do it very differently. So our mission is to improve access to care and optimize human capital, because you talk about, for example, WHO recommends 3 doctors per 1,000 population. In the developing country, such as this part of the world, is less than 1. So how we notice, even you go to big hospitals, be it in Singapore, in Malaysia, you go to find a specialty doctor, say a radiologist or ENT. There are 10 doctors of the same type, but the waiting time is very different, but people are not aware of that. So how do we open up the black box, the transparency, to bring the information to the public domain? So initially, we focus on health screening, regular follow-ups, ad hoc panel, and also alike health professionals. So we started last October. Right now, we're in 4 countries and 17 cities, so Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Thailand. And these are some of the milestones. In October, we got the first hospital called Tun Hussein On Eye Hospital. They are the JCI accredited, like the premier eye hospital in Malaysia. And subsequently, we also signed with the biggest hospital in Malaysia, the Heart Hospital. And by December, we started working with 2 big chains in Singapore and Hong Kong providers. And in January, we signed with the largest conglomerate in Malaysia called Sime Darby. So they have a healthcare arm together, joint venture with the largest Australian group called Ramsay Sime Darby now. And in April, we also went on to look at medical tourism, because our platform initially are focusing on B2B. So to share with you what we actually do with corporate clients is that we have currently about 6 corporate clients with aggregate market cap of 20 billion US. So they give us a 3 to 5 year contract. So what we actually do is that a company may have, say, AirAsia is our corporate client. They have 20,000 employees, 1,000 panel clinics. The employee doesn't know where are the panel clinics. So they're always wasting time searching for it. So how the human resource department distribute or disseminate the information is by using the employee handbook or PDF format. So we went to them and say, hey, why not you use our platform? You can navigate, because there are doctors who get listed overcharging, issuing fake MC, and new doctors coming on the platform. So we have a real time on that capturing of the data. And secondly, we can facilitate the employees. They know how long is the wait time in every clinic than just going to a place where they find location-wise maybe the nearest, but it's not the fastest, okay? And in May, we started, end of this month, we're actually signing with the Social Security of Malaysia. We got a 5-year contract from the government. So we are the official healthcare platform for the whole Malaysian nation. okay? So our team, we consist of more than 150 years experience, people from ICT, insurance, entrepreneur, banker, and regulators. So this is my CV, and we have a group of advisors because we noted that healthcare is a very regulated industry, so we need to bring people, the policy makers, the decision makers on board. So we have a group of advisors in Malaysia. We got 3 Director General of Health, and we also have the Dean of International Medical School, which is part of IHH, which is the second largest company by market cap in the world. And also in Singapore, we have the emeritus consultant at Sing Health and also the past president of the International Office of SGH. So to give a product overview, basically it's very simple. It's something like Agoda of healthcare or Airbnb of healthcare. You go in, you see where the doctors, etc. But like I mentioned, then the doctor will get a platform, and also the HR will get analytics. Because all the big companies on a monthly basis, the big companies, they want to monitor the performance of the employees. So they always ask the HR and say, hey, you go and churn out the data, who is a good staff, who is not a good staff, how we improve the productivity. So here we capture real-time data, which right now is not. So secondly, also we actually also capture all the cost of the employee. So every employee have the benefit and how much they have used up real-time, up to date. So why use BookDoc for app user? Easy to search for doctor, instant locator, appointment reminder, instant booking, and 24/7. And for doctors, we are 24/7 appointment booking platform. So, and new doctors like it because we help them build their practice. And some of the older doctors, they like it too because it helps optimize their human resource. Because when they are very good, they actually employ additional doctors to come on the platform to help them manage more what they call patients. So we can help monitor that analytics. And for corporate, of course, we help simplify information distribution, easy access, improve staff productivity instead of waiting in line in a healthcare facility where cross-infection is very high. And some of the things probably some of you guys have seen, so what are we different? So first and foremost, we sort of achieved the highest pre-seed and seed valuation in Asia Tech, and we have contracts from listed companies, MNC, north of 20 billion US. We are a regional player. In 6 months, we're in 4 countries, 17 cities. And we also recently added a lot of new features. So some of the things we added, like we tied with a land transport company called Grab. So one of the unicorn here in Southeast Asia. So what we do is that when the fellow falls sick, he can't drive. You call the cab will physically come to your location and bring you to the healthcare facility. So next, since we are targeting the medical tourism side, so we are also tying up with also Agoda and also Expedia into the platform aggregator to help complement medical tourism. So some of the people involved here, we have the Sultan of Brunei's brother is involved as an investor here. We got one of the banker, she's also Forbes, one of the top 50 most powerful women in Asia. We have an insurance guy, he's the number 2 guy of Manulife Insurance. This Shahril guy, he's a past chairman of MC, which is the government telco in Malaysia. This lady, she's a former Director General of Health, and he's the founder of Airbus Malaysia, and Danny is also a Groupon founder of Hong Kong. So some of the endorsement, our corporate partners, we have AirAsia, Time, which is one of the largest telco company in Malaysia. Our strategic partners are Grab and the Social Security of Malaysia, National Kidney, National Cancer, etc. So these are some of the things we do, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great idea, but I see a few problems. Number one, from my understanding, good, well-known doctors don't want to join in a network like this. People have to queue up.
Understood.
Number two, you are the intermediary between the patient and the doctors. Okay, one bad case management, okay, can completely finish this business. How do you protect yourself? Thirdly, I'll just ask all the questions so that then I pass on to my other colleagues, okay? You are managing the whole process from introduction to the management of the problem, okay? That's what typically a clinic or a hospital does. And it is far more reliable from a client's perspective, from a patient's perspective to go to a well-known hospital. So you are a startup company and you are competing with some of the big giants, okay, we've got the whole solution, all the expertise. So I guess these are the 4 questions.
Can you come the first one so I can answer you again? Sorry.
First one again.
Yeah.
The question is that how do you get well-known doctors?
Okay.
They won't join you.
Can I answer that first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically how we get the well-known doctors, because we work B2B, so the corporate clients have all the doctors panels. So not necessarily I get the best doctor, but I get what the demand or the patient or the corporate client who's paying for it using all the database of the doctors. So if I don't connote one doctor is better than the other, as long as the corporate client say, these are part of my panel, I just admit them to the platform, number 1. Number 2, since we are working with the Social Security of Malaysia, bulk of all the doctors are part of the platform. So like it or not, they're sort of compelled to use the platform now because of that, okay? So these are the 2 main key for question number 1.
No, but if let's say if I have these doctors paneled, impaneled as a corporate,
Yeah.
through the clinic or hospital or even directly, then why do I need you? I'll have my secretary call them and make
Because
an appointment.
I'm an aggregator, I churn out data analytics for the HR, which they are not doing it. If they do it, they're doing it manually right now, and it's not real time. So if a company has 20,000 employees, they want to get, say, talk about cost. How much is the cost of the employees of the 10,000? They can get the aggregator with just 1 click. And they know by outlets which staff are more productive than others.
No, I understand. But in the business of aggregation, even in the hotel industry, the biggest challenge is quality control.
Understood.
How do you handle that?
So when people come to us, they want to admit themselves to the platform, so we actually have people verifying the information. But again, we are not involved in doctor-patient relationship. We are just an enabler to let you know, if you look at our platform, just the doctor, the qualification, the operating hours, and the languages spoken. We actually do not recommend any doctor. There are no rating system on the platform.
No, actually, you know what, in my opinion, probably you're doing it, in my opinion, what is missing is it's overall management of the patient's requirements, right from finding the right solution, doctors, the treatments, and then the documentation, the investigation.
Yeah.
You know, it can be a pretty complicated thing. Do you do that?
Yes, we do that.
You do-
So actually,
that
if you look
means
at
a
it,
client, I become your client,
Yeah.
then I don't have to worry about any of my
actually,
medical problems.
what we do with a lot of all this third-party organization or MCO in Malaysia, for example. So a lot of corporate clients, once they see a GP, they get recommended a referral to go to see a specialist. So now we got an e-referral program where the doctor, GP, doesn't need to actually fax the physical copy and say, check with the insurance whether this guy qualified or not, and wait a couple of hours. Right now, once they do it, you auto-link and auto-notify the insurance and say, open up the file, check if this guy is good or not. So we help automate the process, actually.
Great.
Stefan?
Over to you.
Sure. So how many bookings are you doing at the moment?
Right now, we are doing with the corporate, so we are about, in aggregate, probably about a few thousand booking.
Per...
No, not per day. On a weekly basis, about a few thousand right now.
Okay, got it. And how are those broken down per country?
So far, mainly Malaysia and Singapore.
Okay. In terms of monetization, you have a lot of different parties in this, right? You have the doctors, you have the consumers, you have the companies. So where do you get the monetization from?
So first and foremost, we are charging the corporate. So the corporate are paying us, like for example, 3 to 5 years, that's one. Then 2, the what we call medical provider is also using our system because we are subscription-based. The other thing I didn't touch upon, we actually send reminder to patient like 2 months, 3 months later, come back for medication instead of sending an SMS or calling up the patient.
Got it. And then what do you see in the biggest challenge in expanding this beyond Malaysia?
I think so far we're okay. Like 2 days ago, I was in Hong Kong. We signed with the largest player called Town Health in Hong Kong by market cap and chain. So it's dealing with a big organization that it takes time because there are many layers going up and down, clearing the legal department, etc. And some of them, they are quite varied because medical, you're not supposed to advertise. So we have to do a way around and say, right now we claim ourselves like a CRM software of medical.
Got it. Final question, sort of like in terms of revenue run rate, how do you see the growth here? I have a hard time understanding how much value this brings to the company, trying to understand exactly how many bookings are made, etc.
So what do you need to know again about?
So what, sort of like in financial projection, how do you see the company developing over, say, the next 5 years?
So the corporate client, the market size of all the multinational and all the listed company, they're doing it manually. So we charge them as good as replacing an individual with automated system. So the revenue of the corporate itself is, the market size is about $500 million in this region.
Okay. How much do you get today per corporate you work with, roughly?
We charge about $1 to $3 US per employee based on subscription. Whether they use it or not, we still charge.
Okay. That's all I have.
So what is your current revenues, 2016? What will
So we started 6 months ago. Right now, with the contract we have on hand, the 3 to 5 years, we have a 7-digit US dollar total revenue right now
this is for 2016?
for 2016.
And how many people you are now?
Right now, what, employees or how many?
Employees.
So we are about 30 people right now.
Already 30 people.
Yeah.
And how many years you are in the development?
How many years? I mean, it's continuously being developed. We started development in last July.
So you started last July and you got your first contract, you got your 30 employees and revenue of 7-digit. Not bad for,
Pretty good.
pretty good for 10 months. And where do you want to take the company to eventually? In America, there is a company, well something, which are doing similar,
WellPoint or?
similar service of connecting doctors and
Because the next thing we're integrating is also with the airlines and also the hotel partners. So AirAsia, Malaysian Airlines are coming on the platform. So we actually monetize from referral fee as well.
Tell me, why you decided to go and open a company and not to go and get some secure job at the post office or something like this, which...
No, I was having a very secure job as a CEO. I run a company north of 1,005 employees, but I think right now with technology, you can go global very quickly instead of a brick and mortar limited to a specific country. And it takes time to go to the second country, for example.
And what about the uncertainty in this lifestyle?
Well, everything is uncertain. As entrepreneurs, you're a risk taker, right?
Yeah. What is the company that you run before?
It's called BP Healthcare.
I'm sorry?
BP Healthcare.
Also in the healthcare business.
Yeah, so we run diagnostic, imaging, lab, dental, pharmacy, the whole gamut of healthcare in brick and mortar.
Good.
Well, thank you very much, Chevy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good
And,
luck.
we're out of time. So I'd like to thank our panel of investors.
Last
and
word, can I have?
Last word, please. And actually, maybe each can say
Yeah,
15
each
seconds.
one last word. Okay, so I will be the first last word. You mentioned that I invested in 85 companies or something like this, or whatever. But you didn't mention that 29 investments of mine went bust, were killed, closed, disappeared, evaporated.
We always remember the winners.
Yeah, we remember the winners. But what I want to say to these young people, you cannot win if you are not willing to take risk. This is number one. Number two, don't think that the VCs are smarter than you. There are things that are smarter than you, especially where experience is coming to the place where issues like how to create a confidence, things which are general business. When it's come to the ideas, the execution of the ideas, if you rely on all the proven ways, you are not going ever to make your own pathway. And if Columbus would have listened to his VCs, he would never find America. So sailing in uncharted waters is very, very important. This is how you discover new continents, etc. So listen to the VCs, but not too carefully.
Stefan,
I
last
think
word?
given that I'm among the under 30s myself, I think I should hold back from giving advice.
No, I think it's really heartening to see, I mean, the amount of homework this generation is beginning to do. It's literally, it's difficult to really catch them sleeping. I mean, I'm very pleasantly surprised and happy. But at the end of the day, there is no substitute to experience. I think that's the element that they'll have to, at some point of time, bring in through some kind of a structure. Better late, I was telling someone informally during lunch that spend more time in doing the preparatory groundwork to make it as foolproof as possible, then rushing into it. You can't afford to fail, because that has a huge backlash going forward. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you. As investors, we generally invest in one most important thing, and that's people. That's the character, the intellect. It's the only thing that really matters. And these three people were extraordinary, each in their own way.